Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel today. I have for you part one of a two-part project, and it is this super cute little flower granny square pouch. On the front I've done little flowers with just a single round granny square. On the back it's linen stitch. So this part one will get you to this point, and then we need to do the lining and the zipper. I was actually inspired by this bigger bag that I made for the hashtag Made in Australia Cal 2025. I had yarn left over, so I thought to myself, carry this little theme across and make a little pouch or a purse, which I think is really handy, and I absolutely adore these little flowers. I think they're super cute in a rustic sort of a way. So this is part one, and then part two will be lining our pouch and putting in a zipper. I hope this might be something that you enjoy, and it really didn't take very long to create either. Okay, I'm going to leave you to part one. Have fun with that. Of course, if you've got any questions, send me a message. You know I don't mind. And I had best get moving on doing part two. I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye for now. Enjoy. The materials you'll need for this project are, of course, your yarn. Mine's an 8-ply, so I've got a 4mm hook. You need your trusty scissors and darning needle, and stitch markers are a must. A tape measure, you need a calico or some other sort of fabric that you would like to line this pouch with, and a zipper to the right size, so that we can make the little bag secure. Oh, the cotton with the needle. This depends on whether I hand sew the lining in or get the sewing machine out. Look at these little cutie pies. I am going to make a granny square pouch. Well, granny squares on the front, plain stitch on the back. So I'm going to show you how to crochet these little cuties so you can make one for yourself. First of all, we're going to make this center ring that has an opening in the middle by wrapping your yarn around your finger 3 times, pulling up a loop, making a chain. And now we do 12 single crochets around all these 3 loops. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So we'll snip off our yarn. We'll do an invisible finish. Otherwise you can get a little bit confused and have what appears to be like 13 stitches. So we'll do this properly, and then there is no cause for confusion. With your yarn on your needle, checking these little V's up the top here. We don't go under the first one, but we go under the second. And we allow this yarn end to sit over top of that first stitch on the left. Now bringing it back down the center of your last single crochet. There we go. Now that makes 12 single crochets, nice and obvious, so we don't muck things up. 2 and 3. Snip that one off, and we'll tuck this last little one in. When the yarn ends are short, I pop the needle in first, then I pop the yarn in the eye of the needle. Let's do it one more time here. There we go. Snip that one off. And now we have 12 single crochets. Choose another colour and pop a slip stitch on your hook. We're going to work in the front loop of this little circle and save the back loop for the granny square. First stitch is a slip stitch. Pull your yarn through and pull it through the loop on your hook. Chain 1, yarn over. Now we're doing 3 double crochets into the next stitch using the front loop only. 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, slip stitch into the next front loop, chain 1, 3 double crochet into the next loop. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, slip stitch into the next front stitch only, chain 1, now 3 double crochet into the next. Chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, now 3 double crochet. 2 and 3, chain 1, slip stitch into the next, chain 1, 3 double crochet into the next stitch, chain 1, slip stitch, chain 1, now 3 double crochet. 1, 2 and 3, chain 1, and now slip stitch back into that first stitch that you made your original slip stitch. Okay, we should have 6 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Beauty. We're all good. Snipping off your yarn and pulling it through. Let's finish this off by making your way down through the very first slip stitch. Now down the back of the double crochet next to it. You can go into the 12 single crochet ring and work your way around there, as long as you're staying away from your back loop. I just find this little area to be much more secure. There we go. Snip that one off. Pick up the next yarn end. Let's take that down the same double crochet on the left, popping it through into the single crochets. Now we have a sweet little flower. Choosing another colour, pop a slip stitch on your hook. Now we're going to create a little granny square. So yarn over, you can choose any loop you like. We're going to do 2 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochet in that same loop. That is your first corner. Then we do a double crochet into the next loop, a double crochet into the next. Now we do another corner. Now we're working in the back loop here. You'll see that the back loops on the back of your work are all available for you to use. So we'll do 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Now double crochet in the next loop, double crochet in the next loop, back to the next corner, 2 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochet, double crochet in the next loop, double crochet in the next, and your next corner is 2 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 more double crochet, double crochet in the next loop, and last of all 1 more double crochet. Now we will snip off our yarn, pulling that through, popping it onto your needle, and we'll do an invisible finish again. So we don't want to go under the first little V here on the top, we'll go under the second one. So the V that we create doing this finish sits over top of the first one. Take your needle down through the double crochet where you came from. There you have a lovely neat finish. Now I'm going to work my way through the double crochets and into the back of that center loop. Do the other one, ending that one across and down the center of that double crochet on the opposite side. Now working your way towards the center ring, snipping off that yarn, and there you have an ever so sweet little granny square flower. You can't really notice the granny squares at the moment. They probably could do with a bit of a blocking, but I think once they're joined, they'll square up nicely. Once you've made as many granny square flowers that you need, we're going to join them using the invisible back loop only slip stitch again. It's become a favourite of mine, but it just works so well. So we'll fold over one row on top of the other. This one is going to be a bit of a challenge, I'll admit that, but we'll do our best. Popping your yarn on your hook with a slip stitch, we'll pick up the first 2 little granny squares, and we need to identify the corner. Once you find your corner, you find the back loop of that chain 1. Then we're going to do a slip stitch through the both of them. Now we go along in the back loop only of each stitch afterwards, pulling your yarn through and through the loop on your hook. Back loop on one side, back loop on other, pulling your yarn through and through the loop on your hook. Back loop, yarn through and through the one on your hook. This isn't turning out to be quite as difficult as I thought it might be. Just a little bit more fiddly than usual. Slip stitching all the way across. Back loop, pull your yarn through and through. Back loop, pull yarn through and through the loop on your hook. I think we've got one more here. I think we have the corner. Back loop, yes, the corner, pull your yarn through and through the loop. Okay, next trick is doing two more next to it. So holding the first lot in your right hand, you need to find the back loop of the corner on the second pair. Back loop there, and there's my other one. Now it's getting fiddly. Pull your yarn through and through the loop on your hook, which I just had to tighten a bit then, it had come loose. Back loop, pull your yarn through and through the loop on your hook. I think that this would actually be a lot easier if I was laying it flat, but I want to hold it up so I can show you what I'm doing. Back loop, yarn through the loop on the hook. Back loop, lucky this isn't a very big little purse. I'm going to make mine for crochet hooks. I can see these little ones being made for all sorts of reasons. Little makeup bag, or for an actual purse with real money in it and cards. Okay, let's pop this down. I'll show you how we've done. And that's worked out well. See, you can just see the stitching, which I quite like. Now let's do another set before I go off and finish the row. Last one for these little squares. We're back to the corner. And pulling through. There we go, we're doing well. It'll be a lot easier when it comes to going vertically. Righto, one more set. Now we do the same thing, just by folding the bottom row on top of the middle row. we have the horizontal direction done, and that's what it looks like on the back. Now I'm just going to turn it over and around, and this time do the verticals. Righto, I've done the corner, moving along to the next stitch in the back loop of both and pull through. Oh, that one worked easily. Back, back, pull through. Now I'm going to go into the same back loop that we used going across horizontally. If I can find that one, there we are. Pull through. Same with the first one of the next square. Now going over the join into the next two corners, and then moving on, coming up to the corner, there we are. I'll do the next 2 rows and I'll meet you back here soon. There we have the front of our little pouch. I'm actually going to put this on the blocking mat while I start the back. Now that the front panel has been blocked and we've got our correct size, we're going to do a back panel in linen or moss stitch. Now I've come back from the future because I want to make an adjustment to the chain length for the back panel. I had originally done 36 chain plus 2 for the turning chain on the end, so 38 chains. However, I feel that the back just needed to be that little bit wider. I mean, it looks fine, but when it was in 2 pieces, the back was just a little bit smaller than the front. So let's change the chain amount. I'm going to do 40 chain all up. It's just 2 extra. But starting with a slip stitch on your hook, yarn over and pull through that loop and keep on going until you've got 40 chains, and we'll see how it lays next to the little bag. Okay, I have 40 chain here, and it might look a little bit excessive, but just trust me, it won't be. It will be much better because 2 of that is your turning chain, and you've really got 1 extra compared to what you had using 36 plus 2 chains for this little back panel. So I do suggest that you do 40 chains. You've got 2 chains as a turning stitch, so you then need to make your first row, which is single crochet, into the 3rd chain from the hook. yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so we're just going to go along now and do single crochet along all the chains. I also want to show you where I put my single crochet on the chain, because on one side you have these little V's, little V looking thing for each stitch, and on the back you have these little bumps. So I find it much neater to go into that back one than I do the front. Okay, I've finished my single crochet row across the chains. I am going to turn my work, put my hook into the single crochet below, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. Now I'm going to pop another stitch marker at this end, so I know exactly where the stitches start and finish. Then we move along with the linen stitch. We do 1 chain, we skip a stitch below, and we do a single crochet into the one after that. Chain, skip a stitch, single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. And keep your work going like that till the end of the row. Here we are at the end of our first linen stitch row, and we need to take this stitch marker out. Now I'm at the end of row number 1 for our linen stitch, and I haven't finished completing this single crochet because I'm going to change colours, and I change colour by popping the new colour on my hook, pulling through those 2 loops, firming up that work, chain 2, turn your work over. Now we can do a single crochet straight into the chain space below. Chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet. Now go along. This is row number 2 for your linen stitch, and I'll meet you back at the end. Nearly to the end of this row, I've just done a chain 1. I'm going to pop a single crochet in the very end. Now changing colour again, put my new colour on the hook, pull it through the 2 loops, tighten that up, and do 2 chains and turn your work. Again, you can do a single crochet directly below in that chain space. Chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, single crochet, chain 1, skip a stitch, and along we go again. Again, I'm going to change colours, popping the new yarn on my hook, pull through those 2 loops, firm that work up, chain 2, turning over and starting with a single crochet in the chain space below. Chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet. So this is your moss stitch. I absolutely love the look of it. You need to do 25 rows of the linen stitch to suit this little pouch. The next step is to sew in all of these yarn ends. I did try to join the front and back panel and crochet the yarn ends in as I went, but there were just too many and it was thick and unsightly. So you just need to choose a side that you're going to keep as your outer side, and then on the inner side darn all the yarn ends so that they can't be seen. When you're happy with your back panel, all yarn ends are sewn in, we're going to snip them off. I've joined these together with stitch markers, remembering to face the front of both sides together so you're looking at the back side. Now I'm going to crochet going through the granny square on the top so I can see the stitches that I want to go through. I'm going to do single crochet through both sides of the work. Now I can take this first one out. I need to find my corner and the corner here too and do a single crochet. Now I'm going to work into the top of every double crochet on our granny squares and position your stitch on the back panel just as close as you can get it. A little bit tricky, but we just go slow and steady. Slow and steady does win the race. I do a single crochet into the joining stitch, then back into the top of the corner. Take this stitch marker off, and I might open out and have a look in a minute. I suggest you do this fairly regularly so that there's nothing untoward that you think, oh, I really should pull that undone and do that bit again. You don't want to get too far down the track. So let's have a little look here. Oh, that's okay. That's not bad at all. Like I said, I think Rustic comes to mind with this project. I really do. And I don't mind that at all. Rustic gives me a warm, comfortable feeling. I'm not one for sleek, shiny, bright. I like rustic, comfy and warm. So that's what's certainly come out in these two projects that I've made now for the Made in Australia crochet along. They've worked out perfectly for the theme. And I hope that some other of you really might like the bag or this purse that I've made and make one for yourself. I'm just checking my side and it's a-okay. So we'll pull our work back and continue around the corner. So I do 2 single crochets in the corner, one facing the side, and then I turn the other one to face the bottom. Now working back into our double crochets of the granny square, and the bottom section is much easier here with the chain along the bottom of the back panel. Oh, that just makes life a whole lot easier. All right, I'll zip along and I'll come back and I'll meet you back at the end of this row. The bottom looks fine, so I'll continue on doing 2 single crochet in the corner, bringing this single crochet around to the side, and I'll move on from there. Let's turn our bag out to the right way, pushing the corners out. Oh gosh, I think it's cute. It is so cute. It's making me laugh. Now, I think we might do a round around the top in the joining colour, which is the brown. I work back out to the right way and did a single crochet row around the top of the front and the back. Just starting on one side, doing a single crochet into the join row as well as into the top of each single crochet and chain on the back, and into the top of each double crochet and join row of the front. This is where I leave you in this video, and I will return to complete our project in part 2.